Okay guys, this video deals with different forms of linear equations. So up until now, all of our equations have been in slope-intercept form. Now we're going to start to see standard form, which is where x and y are on the same side of the equation. So for number 1, this would be in slope-intercept form because x is on one side, y is on the other. The next one is in standard form because x and y are on the same side. Number 3 is in slope-intercept form, and number 4 is in standard form. So the way that we know how to graph these functions is when it's in slope-intercept form. So we want to practice rewriting anything that's in standard form to be in slope-intercept form. So if I have 8x plus 4y equals 12, I want to get this equation so that y is by itself. I want to get y alone here. So right now y is being multiplied by 4 and it's being added to 8x. So to solve, I need to get rid of this 8x first. It's furthest away from y. So I'm going to subtract 8x from both sides, which gives me 4y, because now the x's are gone, equals negative 8x plus 12. And then, to get y by itself, I need to divide every single thing in the equation by 4. So I get y equals negative 2x plus 3. Now it's in slope-intercept form. For the next one, just need to make some space. I'm trying to solve for y again so that it can be written in slope-intercept form. So I have 3x minus 4y equals 8. And again, my goal is to get y by itself. So I'm going to start by getting rid of the 3x. That's always my first step, is to get rid of the x term. So to get rid of positive 3x, I subtract 3x. So that's gone. And I'm left with negative 4y equals negative 3x plus 8. Then I'm going to get rid of the times negative 4y by dividing by negative 4. So I'm going to divide every single thing by negative 4, which gives me y equals negative 3 divided by negative 4 is a positive 3/4. And I'm going to leave. And so that gives me 3/4 x, and then 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. I want you to try the last one on the bottom. You should have gotten y equals 2x plus 2/5. Now try the problems on page 2. When you're done with those, unpause the video and take notes on page 3. We do slope, we want it to be in fraction form. So now we're on page 3. We are asked to graph each of these equations, but first rewriting them in slope-intercept form, because that's really the only way we know how to graph them. So if I have x plus y equals 3, I'm going to subtract x from both sides to get y by itself. That gives me y, because the x's cancel, equals negative x plus 3. This is already in slope-intercept form because y is by itself. So now I'm going to go ahead and graph it. My y-intercept is 3, meaning I start at 3. 1, 2, 3. So that's my y-intercept. And my slope is negative 1, which means I lose $1 every week. So I lose $1 every week. So that would be the graph of my equation. And we want to get into the habit of doing as many dots as can fit, which we'll see why later in this unit. Connect the points with a dot. That's my line. So for the next one, I have to get y by itself, so I start by subtracting the x term. So I'm left with negative y equals negative x plus 1. Notice how I always put the x term first. That's because that's the form we're used to it being in. Now, I'm not quite in slope-intercept form yet because I still have a negative 1 in front of my y. So I'm going to divide by negative 1, and that gives me y equals negative 1x divided by negative 1 is positive 1x. 1 divided by negative 1 is negative 1. So I'm going to go ahead and graph that. It tells me that I start owing $1 or with negative 1. So I put a dot on negative 1. And then my slope is 1. So I'm gaining $1 per week. Up 1 over 1. Up 1 over 1. And again, I want to get in the habit of making as many dots as possible. So I'm going to work backwards as well. I'm going to connect my points with a line. There we go. Okay, so for the next one, I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. That's going to give me y equals negative 2x plus 2. So this is already in slope-intercept form because I have y by itself. And then I'm going to plot it. So my graph starts at 2. So I start with $2, and I'm losing $2 every week. So I'm going to go down 2 and over 1, losing $2 every week. And I'm also going to work backwards to get as many points as I can fit. And I'm going to connect my points with a line.